We can do that. And I want to briefly share the screen once again. So, um, Bright Beginnings is the theme for our month. Um, and in the journal, for those of you who have purchased the journal that was provided to us out of the home office, we are in week 3, and the topic is unwritten. The theme, the creativity, infinite impossibility. We are the co-creators of our life. So I also take my direction for where I'm going to go each week out of the Science of Mind magazine. And into today's reading is titled This Grand Adventure. And it begins with a quote from Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics. And she says, "When you come to a roadblock, take a detour." And I think that this idea of new beginnings and or bright beginnings, and the story is unwritten where we are today and all that's going on in the world. It certainly is calling for us to step out into this new adventure. And it is of my thinking that the universe is always providing us an opportunity to take a look at where we are in life and what's going on in our experience. And oftentimes it gives us a gentle nudge, and reminds us, it's like, open up your eyes and allow yourself to see what's going on, so that you can make corrections and make adjustments in your life and bring about a greater experience. And of course, if we're not paying attention, if we're just kind of going along in our daily routine, if we're uh, perhaps maybe ignoring the signs that are being given to us in that very natural way that shows up in each and every moment, then the universe gives us an even stronger nudge. And some of us in this philosophy of science of mind have named that and called it the 2x4 experience. When it comes up the side of our head, we begin to recognize and realize that maybe something is truly asking for our attention. And I think that if ever there was a message that's going on now, the universe is giving us this experience, a 2x4 experience in this pandemic, that's asking us to open up and wake up to the potential that's available to us. Not that it's not that it has a desire to bring us into any sort of pain and suffering, but it is giving us an opportunity. If we change our perspective, if we open up our inner eye and our mind and our heart, and look at all that's going on, because we are the co-creators of this experience. So there's some accountability and some responsibility that we hold within ourselves to look at this experience and say, what's what's the possibility for me? What's a brighter new beginning for me? What is this grand adventure that the universe wants to uh, invite us to step into? And I think that it's very clear as I look at it that the idea is that there's a global experience that's happening here. This is not something that's local. This is not something that is defined by borders. This is not something that's defined by ideology or race or culture or any other of those limitations that we kind of bring into our experience. But this is a global opportunity that's showing up. It shows us clearly that there is within all of this that's going on in this experience, that it is impacting everyone around the entire globe, throughout the earth that we inhabit here. And that when we come together, when we recognize there is an opportunity for us here as a community, that there's an opportunity for us here as a human race, that we can truly make a difference if we're willing to come together, if we're willing to set aside just for a moment some of uh, the personal desires and wants and needs in our own life in our small way, and we can open up to this greater expansion, that there is a global opportunity that is, I think, in some ways screaming out to us, saying, this is the time, this is the place, and we are the ones that we have been seeking. Truly, there is a greater experience in life that can be had here, and in so many ways. We've been, in many ways, as communities and as organizations, we've been talking about, is there a better way that we can do things? Is there something that we can do that can change uh, the path that we're going on, as far as how we are affecting our climate, how we are affecting our population, how we are impacting the environment and everything that's going on? And for so long we've been struggling with that. We've been like, there doesn't seem to be a way that we can make a change. And then all of a sudden, here was this uh, enormous, almost an explosion without around the globe, that says, well, why don't you just all stop and be still for a moment? Why don't you just take some time out in your day, in your week, and let me show you how to do that? Because the universe is always listening to us, it's always responding to us. And so, if our consciousness has been raising up to seek out a way in which we can make a difference, and in which we can change the environment, and bring a healing to the climate, the universe said, in a big way, it said, yes, why don't you just all stay at home for a day or two, or a week, or however long it may be? And those of us that are watching, we see and we notice that there truly is a change that's going on. And if that's true in nature, and if that's true in the environment, then it can be true in our life too. That personally, individually, we have an opportunity to slow down for a moment in time and look at where we are, what it is that is going on in our life experience. And then, as we go within and we ask ourselves these questions, we can begin to seek out a greater truth. Where am I today in my life and in my experience? And how is that working for me? And does it match up with what's in my desire, and what's in my want, and what's in my need? And if we begin to align ourselves with the emotional part of who we are in our experience, and we align that with the intelligent part, the mind that we have, the power that we have available to us through our thought, then we can begin to open up an avenue. We can begin to open up a pathway that looks like a greater experience. And as I'm looking at the reading in the Science of Mind magazine, it talks about this grand adventure that is available to us. And the story that's given in the reading today, it's about an amputee, about an individual who is faced with a great challenge, and it talks about how this person always responds in a more positive way. And the short part of the story is that this individual has ended up having both legs amputated, and a friend who has always seen him as somebody who's joyful and positive, one day sees him kind of in this pensive uh, attitude and unsure as to how to respond. And uh, the, the friend asked him, he says, you know, what's up? And he says, well, you know, I'm applying for this job and I don't know how to answer this question. And he says, well, what's the question? It says, well, the question's asking me, what's my height? You know, and so, you know, for this person who's an amputee, uh, you know, that's probably, you know, something that you know, he has a possibility here. It's like if he's looking at what's available, it's like, well, it could be whatever he chooses to be, because whatever he's going to stand upon is going to be the height that he wants to be. Um, but he's taken the challenge that it was given in his life, and he's looking at it from a point of view of, you know, what's the possibility here? What's the greater experience here? And not being caught up in the challenge and in the limitation that might be available. So all of us at whatever level that we're at, whatever part of the journey of life that we're on, we all have a potential to enter into our life experience and see a greater possibility. So, this grand adventure is an idea about um, looking at where we are in life and what is it that we truly desire. And we can, as Marianne Williamson says, we can step out of our littleness, out of our little being, our little limitations, and we can step into a greater experience. One of the quotes that is in the journal that I mentioned earlier from Natasha Bedingfield: drench yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Our story is continuing on. And in some sense, in that metaphysical sense, in that philosophy of the science of mind, our story is eternal. There is so much that is unwritten. And we have this day, we have this moment, we have this time where we can begin to write a new chapter in our life. We can begin to write the new story. And if we want to, we can go back and erase an old chapter and rewrite it and make it whatever it is that we want. The possibility is yours. The choice is yours. The life is yours. Whatever you are raising up in your consciousness, I know that the universal mind, the infinite and powerful law that is available to us, is just waiting upon our declaration of the truth of who we are and what we want and how it is that we want to live our life. So I invite you in this week, in this day, in this time, as you have some quiet time, some time to reflect upon what's going on in your life, what's going on in our community, what's going on in our country and in the world at large, is that where is my part in this? Where is my story in this? What do I want to bring into this experience? And then begin to write that in your chapter. And for those of you who are still doing some of those journals that we passed out last year, you can begin to write in your journal, what is your new story? What is your new life? What is your new experience? And then I know absolutely in the power and in the presence of the divine spirit that dwells within each and every one of us, that it will bring all the resources necessary for you into your life experience in order for you to have greater joy, greater peace, greater love, greater harmony, greater prosperity, whatever it is that is necessary. The universe has already created it. It is available to you. It is waiting for you to make your declaration and to bring it forth into this time and this presence. So that's your invitation for this week. Begin to write your story the way that you want to live it. The possibilities are limitless and endless, and you can be all that you are designed to be, for you are a divine expression of this infinite intelligence and this absolute power. And so I just call that good and very good, and wish you all the best in your life in this day and this week. Namaste. I'm going to